Yeah. Hello, Eugenia. How you
Hello,
doing?
Soul.
Yeah. So what's up?
Hello.
A little tanned?
Yeah, I guess I am. It's weird. I didn't, you don't look at yourself, and turns out I am.
Mm.
Yes, I was outside this morning talking to a colleague of mine about the state of the world. And so I think we forgot that the sun penetrates and hits our skin and burns us. And so I think we both got a little burnt because we were just like, what's going on in the world? This is really intense. What's happening right now? So I thought it might be nice to give the people a Uranian burst of insight into some stuff that's up right now, both in the collective, but mostly internally for everyone. And I thought we could mention some things for people to know about so that they know what's going on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I've been paying close attention to the Pluto opposite both Mercury and the Sun, and evidently something really not so nice happened during this opposition in the United States with the killing of the black man with by the police. And it's really sad, how incredibly jittery people are these days, that they can blow up like that. It's growing intensely, increasingly intense for you over there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very safe. It's not, it's challenging our security. It's really not like, what is going on with the world? I think part of the problem is that everything is in our living room.
Mm.
Live, it's like we have no defense mechanism, and we haven't upgraded our spiritual immune system to deal with this. It's just too much. And cancer is all about having time to process everything. And right now it seems like we just go from one thing to the other to the other. It's like there's non-stop action. It's like a soap that never ends. It's like a soap, because you just think they got it right, and then suddenly somebody comes with something incredibly juicy, dramatic. Somebody, like, just when you try to, oh yeah, finally they're getting each other, and then boom, some reveals that one of them lied, and everything is messed up again. That's Earth from an emotional point of view, and Cancer is extremely emotional. I mean, this is where we feel everything, and we sense everything, and it's too much emotion in the air.
Right.
And
Right. And yeah, totally. So, we're in the sign of Cancer right now. And when we look at the chart, which we'll add to this video, we see Cancer, that watery emotion, the family, everything we're talking about. America just had its birthday on the 4th of July. It's very an American concept too, like the values of America being kind of this rigid mom, dad, 2.5 kid box that America lives in oftentimes. And as it gets broken through it, it's a little painful, but it's shining light on Pluto. Hades, the god of the underworld, and they're facing off right now. And this is what we were seeing too, similarly with the Brexit thing, which, I have a number of clients in England, so I've gotten to check in with a lot of people about that. And it's just this feeling of what's going on. Are the people who created this are gone? Our leaders are gone. Who's out to protect us? Are we safe? And it's up. And more importantly, for us as individuals, I think a lot of us are having to face deep fears in dark parts of our own internal psyche right now, that there's stuff happening in the collective. But I know that for myself, for clients, there's like these shadow pieces are like coming out from behind, and they're looking at us in the face, and they're saying, look at how I'm driving you. Look at me, the shadow, your unconsciousness. I'm driving you. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Let's heal, is my hope, the optimist. Well, I'm not usually the optimist, but I'm trying to be.
Well, we can always hope. I mean, there's something we need to learn collectively, I think, and it's not about, I think being able to ground deeper into yourself, and we were never safe on Earth anyway. I mean, the illusion of safety. Yeah, I mean, I've been watching that Vikings series on television, and it's way back when, before everything, was regulated like it is now. And there was so much bloodshed, there was so much killing, so much pain, so much loss. And if you look at history, I mean, cancer is is all about the genetic history that we carry in our veins. And we've gone through this. It's been repeated over and over again. And I think that's part of it. It's habits. These are our new habits. We've always been used to a lot of drama. And I think right now what I'm feeling, people around me are sensing too, that they are tired. We need time. I want time and security. The theme with my clients have been the last couple of days, money, which is safety, and then time, which is also being secure on earth instead of running, right? You just have like 5-minute break and then you think, I have to create something, I have to do something because I have to survive all the time. And it's really, no wonder people are a little uptight, like we are a little tense. And it's really something that is, with the sun crossing in opposition to Pluto, which is in Capricorn, and reminding us of the core values of our society, which are about to be changed. As I'm sharing your optimism, I think it will be too, but it's not a work that is done very quickly. It's a work in progress. And I think, right now it's just incredibly intense because we get everything into our living rooms, and it's hard to put it into perspective, because it's the same thing with the terrorism. We are increasingly aware of the shadows, and therefore there can be easily a very intense reaction to it. It doesn't mean that it's worse than it ever was, but it's more intense because we are now dealing with it on a very conscious and collective level, like it's all surfacing. And that's so classically Scorpio, Mars in Scorpio, bringing all this out. It's a lot of anger in people. People are feeling disturbed by their own emotional reactions. Emotions are so disruptive. It's like one day you feel happy and the other day not. So it's really, it's not a steady boat. It's really something that is always changing. You could feel very grounded in yourself in one moment and something triggers you, and then whoops, you lost yourself again. So being firmly seated in yourself, I think, is part of, well, at least my meditation, just moving in again and healing that vulnerable soft spots inside, eager to overreact or have a very intense reaction to everything, actually.
Right. And I think too, it's a good point in terms of talking about this all being televised. When we think about what happened in the hippie revolution, or whatever we call it here in America, in the late 60s, early 70s, the reason for the revolution, the initiation of the revolution, was the creation of the television, right? It was the first time we were getting images streamed from war, and people were seeing war on their television. For the first time in human history, right? So the wars happening, killing has been happening forever. Violence is part of the human condition. But it's easy to go about life knowing there's war, but not seeing it unless you're willingly there, or unfortunately, a lot of people were forced there, have been forced there. But we're seeing with this Pluto-Uranus square a new access into watching this. And so the consciousness is it's getting bigger. Our minds are we're seeing more. It's more dismantling. It's more confusing. It's a little scary. And this is it's part of the whole thing. It's the whole evolution. It's the whole revolution. This is part of it. It's the breaking down part. It's, the breaking through part, or something to that effect, that we're watching happen. And, I'm sorry, I've been looking over here on my other computer, but, the last time Mars, of course, was in this spot was in February of this year, so roughly around the 18th, 20th, 21st, around there. So I really want people to look back for, taking it out of the collective placement. Where were we individually in February? I know that I was recording some podcasts at that time, and I've listened back to them to see what was I going through. And I was facing some demons inside myself. And because Mars was in Scorpio, and it's Mars, God of War, direct into, my underworld, my secret place, the stuff that I keep buried, both from others, but from myself. It was getting hit with an arrow, like an arrow into my core. And then of course you can look into your family's charts and you can see how it's triggering the family. You know, I've got a mom and a dad with a Scorpio moon and a brother with a Scorpio rising. So the whole family constellation is like all the deep family wounds. And then we can go back into the generations. And this is deep. Like this is beyond something we see on TV. This is deep genetic wounding that is in our faces right now. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's hard. And personally too, I've seen some good movements towards healing.
Totally.
I mean, cancer is the sign of accepting things as they are and not always trying to change the world. It's a very fatiguing thing to always having to be the one who has to change everything. And just, you know, resting in that spot and accepting yourself for who you are, with whatever limitation you have discovered during this Mars retrograde in Scorpio. Scorpio is, you know, expert in limitations. I have this limitation and that limitation, and there's so many limitations. And you know, Mars is also the instinctual survival of the fittest trigger that we have all the time going on. Like we are really being challenged at our most vulnerable, because we are relying on sharing and we're relying on each other for the future. And we are not sure that there will be others to rely on for us. You know, the Great Mother is not always that gentle with strangers. She takes care of her own. And there's something deeply understandable about that, because you have to take care of your own body, you need to feed yourself, etc., and then you can take care of others. So we all have that deep inside of us, and that's really ancient because it's always been like that. We always fought for survival. And I think right now with Cancer in the sign of you know, which is the sign of healing, through accepting, through sympathy, through sharing, to taking care of each other. I think also I see something now that can also potentially heal families, because all the shit that's happening. And, you know, especially I can just relate it back to my own family, because I've been traveling back and forth for my mother, and we've had my aunt there, and there's some young people in our family, and it's been really nice. Like there's some sort of healing going on that I appreciate, because it's all out now. You know, it's in the open. We have a platform to discuss our true selves and our true needs and our true problems. Like there's something of that pretentiousness and the illusion of, yeah, I'm all in control of this life, you know, like that's gone. So there's the denial is gone, and that's first stage of healing, to get past that point of denial, like everything is okay. Everything is not okay. There's something wrong in the state of Denmark. That's what they say, Shakespeare. And he, you know, like there's a disturbance in the force. That's what you know, the Star Wars would say, because that's what it is. There's illness here and there. We have dysfunctions everywhere in the global body. And right now in the United States, it must be really rough because of the gun policy that you've been, you know, it's starting now to really show its the dark side of that gun policy. Like the fear is so on hyperdrive. Like it can, like what we saw yesterday live on that stream was just an overreaction, you know, from somebody who was just so intensely tense, you know, and just trigger happy. And it really, that's where we're getting at if something doesn't happen. And evidently, it really needs to go really deep into the shit before it starts to evolving upwards towards the light. So you might say that that's perhaps the point of hope for us right now, that, all right, just stay cool, connect with your spine again. There is light in matter. It's very difficult to see sometimes, but you can't move away from it too often, because otherwise you'll be a part of that eternal soap opera that is going on. And I'm sure of a lot of people that are watching this video are really, really tired of that, because it never led to anything good anyway. It just led to another endless repetition of that cycle, the same old reactions to the same old problems. Yeah, let's have some more war. Good idea. That always solved something, didn't it? No, it didn't. It never did. So we're trying and striving to find new solutions to global problems, but it's not a habit yet. We haven't been, it's not a habit yet. We're still reacting according to old patterns. And it's very understandable due to the survival of the fittest and our instinctual natures. But still, I think the habit will appear. It will become another reaction pattern will perhaps evolve from all this. Like if some people choose to sort of understand the situation instead of judging it, then we might have a hope, right?
Right, and that is the hope, is when we can take these monsters that lurk behind in the murky waters of Scorpio, and we can bring them in front of us and look them in the face, shake their hand, kiss them on the cheek, and tell them goodbye. It's much different when they're behind the scenes and they're manipulating us, and they're, it's like we become the puppeteer of our subconscious, of the deep rooted seated things that we just don't want to look at because it's just so hard and it's so scary and it's so trying, rather than letting us being the puppets, let us be the marionettes, like let's bring these shadows forward and heal them. And I'm gonna bring in Beyonce again. I mean, shit. So good. And that's what she says in it. She says, if we're gonna heal, like, let it be glorious. Let's make the choice to heal this wound that affects everyone, all colors, all races, all genders, all ages. Right. We are recovering from the patriarch, all of us, and so these monsters are rooted many years back, and they showed up in our families, they show up in our relationships, but they must be looked at so that they can be healed. So listen, this is a great Uranian burst. I think that I was inspired. Soul was willing to talk to me and put something out there with me, just to say that we love you all, and we feel ya, and there's reason for it in the sky. I hope that we made that clear, that there's stuff going on. I don't know if we did make that very clear. It's part of the process. It's part of nature. It's part of cycles that we are in, and that, in the end, like, let us heal, let us heal, let it be glorious, like Miss Beyonce says. So,
and just be present in every day. I mean, just be present for those you love. If you love them, tell them, because just tell them that you love them. Venus will soon go into warm and funky Leo, and there she will express her love for those that she loves. Like, there's something about express yourself, and that will definitely heal.
Totally.
Well, thank you for the burst, and it was nice to see you again. And everybody else, have a very nice day.
We love you.
Yay!